Um, it's the episode where they're about to go to Panama, and in the episode, Mahoney arrives at the location, and he shoots Michael and Link's dad, right? Link Burrows, Michael Schofield. Yeah, so he shoots him, and so then when I saw his face, he was like so shocked. And then what I got from that was like the how people say that sin leads to death. And I saw a video recently as well about like being holy, like how people say, "Oh, like try to be holy," or like being holy or whatever, and how it is possible, and how like Jesus told the women like go and sin no more, not go sin less. He told like he was told go and go and sin no more is what he was told. So when I like hear that for real, I'm just like, okay, that actually makes sense about like the whole episode of like the show, whatever. Like it's like when you sin, it leads to death because he want and the does the what is it does the mean justify the ends is what like what I heard like does the mean justify the ends is kind of is that what like the saying is what he said in in the episode. I don't know if it was this episode or in the episode before, and he said he committed like all these sins um just to help his brother, and he saw his dad do that for him. He may not have been killing people himself, but he put himself in a position where he got into the situation and resolved it from the inside because that's what it was that he saw. So for people, right, that we are like born of a certain like we are born and we have certain like things that we're predisposed to and things that will do depending on your life or whatever. But what I thought was interesting is that he said that, and the fact that the Bible is right when sin does lead to death. So does the means justify the ends? A lot of deaths happen in order for like I guess your first crime to like be a success. A lot of like endings had to happen. A lot of things had to go down before they went up. And sometimes you put yourself in that position. In He put himself in that position to help his family, but it's like if you're not gonna do it for them, I guess who are you gonna do it for? Would there have been another way for him to maneuver like the world if he were to have gone in it? Think about it. If he were had to have gone in it, in from a lawyer perspective, you can see that everyone that got in it in a legit way, they ended up dying. They set out to do, it wasn't successful. They revealed a lot of what's that thing called? They revealed a lot of like information to clear Burrow's name, and but he made it this far because he was able to be amongst what they were. See, Link, his dad, and Michael, they all share. Hello, they all share. I'm gonna give you an episode analysis real quick as I'm watching it because Michael's face was just like, and I was like, so so basically, the they have like this, let's say the same, not the same, I wouldn't say mentality, but the same fire, right? They have the same fire as like the criminals, but they're not criminals. They're just regular people, but they have that within them. So that's why Link's dad was able to work with this company, and then when he found out that that company was back, he flipped on the company, right? So boom, 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 boom. Michael is not necessarily the same because Michael had the ability to, go to school and, you know, have more opportunities open to him, right? No, I'm talking about Prison Break. Lincoln Burrows. Come on. So anyways, so he had more options, but in order for him to like to thrive, in order for him to like actually succeed as a person, like based off the circumstances he was given, because his brother was set up to die because his dad joined a force that was ultimately crooked. And how many times does it happen in life? we join certain fields, we join certain groups, we make friends with certain people, we go to certain places, and it's not always like that. But once the deeper that you go, the more that you will know, right? So then that's when it's like, a thing, whatever, whatever. And people think that they're like, because blackmail and stuff like that. That's what they did in the show. So in a sense, sin does lead to death. You can see that all through the show, but sometimes it's not even like, if listen, if the show, but that's not how it went. If in the show they were just good people, the company that the dad joined was a good company. He never had to flip on them. They never wanted a setup link. Michael would have never been to jail, and all that sin would have to happen. But he did what he knew best. He knew that if he were to go in the opposite way, he would just end up dead because he followed the path of all that information. So then he said, okay, I'm gonna go in. And so he feels guilty about it, what he did, like everything that he did, everything like that. But it was like, it was one, it's like, I know there's gonna be like but to me, it's kind of like the Lion King, like, like the Lion King, because Simba left, he had to return back. And it was just like, he saw hard things, but it was always within him. Like, he more so kept to himself. He didn't like the idea of like violence, because I'm analyzing the show. He saw the violence in the, like, he saw how the guy that his foster dad would treat him, and then he saw what his dad did to him, and he's like, wow, like, sin leads to death. The guy sinned towards Michael, and then he died, and it just goes like that. And so sometimes it's not even like your sin that causes, like, your sin doesn't cause like death to you, but it can cause death to like others and like other situations and stuff like that. But does it means justify the ends? I mean, if God really isn't everything, then in a sense, yes. And those that can live a holy life fully, you should do that. I think so. But sometimes there is like certain things that like you you know but don't take my word for it. I'm justifying like people that sin at the moment, right? And just like things that are out of your control, you know not everybody like in the show is like like a good person. Like a Brucey and T-Bag were just straight up murderers, like for real. Sucre, he's just living his life. Tweener, dumb. Who else? Well, Tweener's gone. The Brucey's gone. But yeah, that's all I wanted to tell you guys. So like, sin does lead to death, but in the beginning, it's because I guess Eve eating the apple, and it's still being like cleansed. So it's like, I don't know. Like I think it's I saw a video today. It was a guy saying like, oh, you can like switch and just be like holy. He told the lady, go and sin no more. But like, I don't know. Like, I agree, but it's like I feel like things take time, honestly. So, but that's just me as a human being. I don't know. Supernatural stuff happens. So go and sin no more or whatever. But one thing is, it is about it is a process at the end of the day. What miracle? It could be speed. It could be sped up. That's the truth. So it's like it's a 50-50. So watch the show if you never watched it, and if you're like me and like to rewatch shows, rewatch it. You're probably like older now and hopefully wiser, so maybe you like watch it and you'll like be able to analyze it in a way where you're like, wow, such great messages in the show. And yeah.